Okay, here we're taking the Atlanta Falcons record prediction. So looking at the roster, obviously Desmond Ritter is very inexperienced, but Falcons do have a great run game and with a good coach in my eyes, with beyond Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Cordero Patterson. The wide receivers I don't think are anything special. Drake London could be good. Matt Collins is just a veteran at this point, and their offensive line could be better. And their defense, I wish they upgraded more. They did get Jesse Bates, and I forgot they even signed Calais Campbell. But their front seven really is not that good. Their secondary only has Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell, so hopefully their secondary defense in general gets better, but I really doubt it. So you have your first game versus the Panthers. Panthers, another team that's very inexperienced. Panthers do have a significantly better defense than the Falcons, but Falcons are the more experienced team. They do have a better run game and in general better offensive talent, but it's going to be close. I trust the Panthers defense over the Falcons offense, especially when it comes down to a 2 minute drive. So I'm gonna take the Panthers. Then you have a game versus the Packers. Falcons first of all do have a huge home field advantage. Packers another team with a good defense, but I do think the Falcons run game should be able to do good against the Packers defense. Packers offense is pretty inexperienced as well with Jordan Love starting, but Falcons defense isn't all that. It's going to be another close game. I'm going to give it to the Falcons because they have home field advantage. Then you have a game versus the Lions. Lions offense should go straight to that Falcons defense, which is not good. And the Lions, I think, is a significantly better passer on offense compared to um, Falcons run-oriented offense, which I just don't think will get the job done even against a not great. But even though Lions defense wasn't great this year, I still think I trust the Lions offense 10 times better, so I'm gonna take the Lions. Similarly, Jaguars offense should go right to that Falcons defense, and the Jaguars defense isn't terrible. Falcons do have a chance, but I'm taking the Jaguars here. Then you have them versus the Texans. I just think the Falcons' run game will be too much for the Texans' defense to stop. Texans' defense isn't that good, but the Texans' offense did bring in C.J. Stroud. They have a decent offensive line with Pierce. I expect this to be an offensive game, and I trust the Falcons more, especially with home field advantage. So I'm giving it to the Falcons. Then you have them versus the Commanders. Commanders are coming off a mini bye. Commanders do have a good defense, but I think the run game will be too much for the Commanders to handle. And Commanders um, offense, I think the Falcons defense should do good as long as they stop Brian Robinson, which I think they can. So I'm gonna give it to the Falcons here. Then you have them versus the Buccaneers. I think Buccaneers defense will be too much for the Falcons run game to handle, and I think that even though not a great Buccaneers offense, I think they should go through right through the weak um, Falcons defense in general. So I'm giving it to the Bucks. Similarly, I don't think the Falcons are good enough to stop Derrick Henry, and I think the Titans have a good enough defense to slow down the Falcons. So I'm giving it to the Titans here. Then you have Week 9 versus the Vikings. Vikings do have a very good offense, but have a very bad defense. Similarly, both teams I think are pretty similar. Vikings do have a better pass game, but I'm not sure how Madison's gonna do, and I trust the Falcons running game to just run over the Vikings. So I'm giving it to the Falcons here. Then you have them versus the Cardinals. Cardinals pretty much stripped down the roster. Falcons should not overlook this game, but I'm giving it to the Falcons. Their run game should just carry them. Then you have a game versus the Saints. Saints defense good should slow down the Falcons, and the Saints offense isn't all that. They're both coming off buys, but I'm picking the Falcons because they have home field advantage. Then you have them versus the Jets. Jets defense, I think, is just going to be too much, so it's going to overwhelm Desmond Ritter and that whole offense. And the Jets do have Aaron Rodgers should tear apart the Falcons defense. I'm giving it to the Jets here. Then you have them versus the Buccaneers. I do not see the Buccaneers sweeping the Falcons, so I'm giving it to the Falcons here. Then you have them versus the Panthers. Panthers, I think they're better talented overall team, so I do see the Panthers sweeping the Falcons. I feel like Bryce Young and the Adam Thielen will be too much for the Falcons defense to handle. I trust the Panthers defense. I'm giving the Panthers here. Then you have them versus the Colts. Colts Jonathan Taylor. I feel like as long as the Falcons can slow down Jonathan Taylor, the Colts passing game is not that good, especially with Anthony Richardson. And I trust I trust the Falcons offense over the Colts offense. And even though the Colts have a good defense, Falcons have home field advantage. I'm giving it to the Falcons. Then you have them versus the Bears. Um, Bears, their offense is good. Justin Fields can definitely be disastrous, and DJ Moore, but Justin Fields, I don't trust his passing, and I don't trust Desmond Ritter's passing. Both these teams, they're hard to predict for this year, but I think Arthur Smith is a better coach than Matt Eberflus, so I'm gonna give it to the Falcons. Then you have final week versus the Saints. I don't think the Falcons are good enough to to sweep the Saints, and I don't think the Falcons have anything to play for in the final week, so I'm giving it to the Saints. So in the end, the Falcons go 9-8, 2-4 in the division, 7-1 at home, and 2-7 away.